Update on the Apfg VFC Sig Mcx Rattler. Fucking works. Right, thanks for checking out this video. This one's going to be about my Sig Rattler by Apfg, or VFC basically, as we all know. If you watched the first video I put out on this, you'll know that there were quite a few issues with it out the box when I got my one. It appears like I got a bit of a lemon. The outer barrel had broken and was bent, and had bent the inner barrel because the Hopup chamber basically connects the outer barrel to the receiver. It made of cheese. The threads that thread into the steel outer barrel of that Hopup chamber had snapped off inside the barrel. But I'm assuming excessive force was put on it while it was being packaged up. It seemed like it was something that happened during reassembly after they had done all the engravings and the markings. It does have some very nice Sig markings on it, this one. They don't come like that from VFC and Apfg. As far as I'm aware, VFC did the AEGs, and so they had all of the specs made up for the receivers and stuff. And they had already started production of the GBV versions, basically just different routings out inside. So they had all the bits already. Sig didn't like their AEGs, which is fair enough. From what I've heard, they're all crap. Usual VFC reputation with a lot of stuff. Externally beautiful, internally pants. So Sig dropped VFC from Sig Air, from the manufacturing of their Sig Air products, at least for the rifles and submachine guns. VFC had already made a bunch of gas blowback rifles, so they put them out. So you can't get this particular one stock with the markings on. You have to sort of pay a bit more to have that done. If you get it from Asia, like I did, most of the retailers in Asia that ship worldwide have an engraving service. So this is FCW who did the work on this. Yeah, that they have like an in-house engraving, markings, trademarks service. If they don't really care about copyright, like the Western world does. I think the damage was done when it was being put back together. There was no damage done to the box, so it's not like it was done during shipping. It seems like I've fixed it now. There were some other issues with it that I think were just down to my particular model being a bit of a lemon. Most of the other ones I've seen being reviewed online have had no flaws at all, but I suppose they are ones that have been sent to more established, reputable reviewers, so they might have made sure they got a perfect working product beforehand. So it's difficult to judge what you're going to get, and especially with anything that's like mass produced in that area of the world, you're bound to get manufacturing flaws and errors. Should their quality control be more up to it? Probably, but you know, I don't know how many thousands of these were made. I order loads of stuff from Asia all the time for the benefits of doing so, and this is the first major flaw I've had, so I guess I just kind of count myself lucky where I've been lucky, and every now and then you're bound to get something when you do something so frequently. So the other issue was that all the tolerances just seemed to be too tight. Everything was just working against each other. So when the magazine was inserted, the bolt would be crammed in there and wouldn't cycle correctly. I had a couple of comments on my other video being like, oh, you should send it back, and you know, people saying you should, why'd you keep it? You know, you should send it back. You shouldn't have to pay for replacement parts and whatnot when you've been given a faulty product. And yeah, you're probably right. Like if I bought it in the UK, I'd be holding the shop accountable. you have to take a bit of responsibility as a consumer, especially with airsoft stuff, and anything you order from overseas, to reap the benefits of ordering it from overseas. Those benefits are not limited to it being cheaper, the chances of it slipping through customs and not having to pay any import tax on it. And as far as turnaround goes, it's not that much longer you have to wait. It's maybe like a couple weeks longer than if you were to order it from the UK. Wait a bit longer, pay far less. I got this for, I think it was around £400 with all the markings done to it and stuff, shipped to my door. And I've seen bespoke airsoft selling them for £650 with no markings. So you do save a substantial amount of money when you're doing this. Even with the parts I bought to repair the issues I had, don't come anywhere near to that total amount of money. If you buy one from the UK, like, it's not going to have the upgrades that this one has. So yeah, if you go back and watch that other video, if you do, this will all make a lot more sense. I got in touch with the retailer, Octagon, straight away, and I was like, this has arrived broken. They didn't question it. They were like, yep, that part is a weak part of this design. Unfortunately, we don't have that part in stock. We do have an upgrade part that we can do you a deal on. And they did me a great deal. They basically did it for the same price as what the original stock upgrade part would have been, and with free shipping. I think it was like £25 in total. I got a 70 quid upgrade part shipped free, and it was very quick. And this made all the difference. You can even see it's like a slightly different color. It just, you can feel the difference in quality, the manufacturing quality difference between this part and this stock part. So that solved that problem. Still had a bit of a kink in my inner barrel, so I put a Crazy Jet in there, Maple Leaf Crazy Jet, after watching the Middle Aged Gamer's video on his rifle. With, as far as the tolerance issue goes that I've had with it, I've just worn it in. Lots of just like racking the bolt, firing it, putting mags in and out and whatnot, and just really putting it through its paces a bit. You can see the finish is actually worn off on the bolt a little bit, which is a bit disappointing, that, you know, that would need to necessitate it cycling properly, but it is what it is. It's an area that on a real one, let alone an airsoft one, over time will have wear marks in it. It doesn't really bother me. It seems to function a lot better. It's not perfect, but it does seem to function a lot more smoothly. So I did that, put it through its paces, take the bolt out, clean the bolt, clean all the gunk off, because obviously the finish is wearing off inside the gun and just gunking up things. So wipe all that off, re-oil it, and do the same again basically until it was working reliably enough for me to now think, okay, I can take this to a game and I'll be fine. As I said, it still gets hung up a little bit when it gets cold. It's not as efficient as my other VFC ARs, and they're running on the same magazine, so it's not a magazine issue like some other people have found. It is definitely tolerances within the gun stopping the gun from cycling as it could, as good as it should. But that's all kind of done with. I'm pretty confident it's gonna work and be reliable all day at a game. How I've got it set up right now is sort of how I would for indoor CQB. It's nice and stubby, very loud, thanks to this. Not actually sure what this is. It came with my MP5 suppressor. It's a pretty mean looking flash hider. It's silencer code. Then this amplifier that just makes it clack very loud when you fire it. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to sort of ramble on about it as I switch out some parts and kind of show the different configurations that I've got this in at the moment. Still want to get a couple more parts for it, just cause. It's a very modular gun. There's lots of stuff you can sort of switch around and switch out and create sort of different vibes with it. So we're gonna have a little go through that now. So here it is in the sort of CQB nice and compact setup. All I've really changed is the suppressor. So this is the one that came with it. If you watch that other video, you'll see that the suppressor's actually stuck to the QD flash hider that it comes with, which is a bit of a pain. So I've just put that on another rifle for now. This makes much better use of it being such a compact, short gun. It adds a tiny bit, but it's a sort of a negligible amount. In the grand scheme of it, it's a lot shorter than, that's great for CQB, tight spaces and stuff. And, you know, I can still be loud nice and loud and horrible for other players. The only other thing I've really changed is I put a Magpul K2 grip on there. I find the most comfy grip. I've got a rear sight of my MP7 on there at the moment. I did have the front sight on as well, but I took it off to accommodate this little flashlight. And it's actually on the longer rail anyway. But when I've got it short and the red door, I don't really need my irons. I just keep it on so I don't lose it somewhere. The gun doesn't come with any sights. I've got this Sotac or Holy Warrior. Again, I'm pretty sure they're the same company. Sig marked Romeo 8. Yep, it's a very nice like holographic sight. I don't know if I can show you the reticle down the camera. We'll try. Ish. It's a nice sort of circle with a crosshair reticle and a dot in the center. It's a little bit like reflective. You can't really see it on camera, but you know, you can tell it's not real. It's not the worst, and it's held up fine at a game. I don't know if it's been shot at or actually been shot rather. It seems to be perfectly fine. It handles the blowback of the gun just fine as well. Yeah, I've had no issues with it thus far. I'm on a bit of a crossroads between using cheap real optics or nice replica optics at the moment. I'm trying to sort of figure out which is the best route to go down, whether it be sort of like a vortex or vector optics versus Trigicons and SIGs and aim points and whatnot, and the replicas. I'll probably make a comparison video on those once I've had a bit more experience with both. The only other thing on here is this cheap ass torch. It's literally just a cheap torch and a cheap torch mount with a QD thing. You know, it's fine, whatever, does the job. I literally only use my torch indoors for not breaking my legs. The place we play is basically like an abandoned office block, and so there's lots of stuff to trip over in that. So when you're walking back to spawn, you need a flashlight. I don't use it to strobe people or anything while we play, and it kind of just gives away where you are and people shoot at where the light's coming from. So it doesn't really make sense to me. I would like something a bit more replica fitting, maybe like a D-ball or something, like a nice compact PEC box type thing with a bright light in it. But you know, that's not really the priority at the moment. So the other configuration is this, the Rattler SD, and this SD kit is very nice. There's some nice trademarks on the suppressor there. Yes, it's scratched up. I will explain that as I go. And this extended rail that overlaps most of the suppressor. And you know, this gun can be used outdoors, it can be used indoors. If I want to run it with a tracer in there indoors, I can do the SD setup and have the tracer inside this suppressor. If I just want it short, I'll just use it like this. If I'm just going to go play after work one day at the site that's nearest to me in an evening, bit dodge, but I could just put it in my bag, lock it up in a case in my bag. It's nice and compact, and you know, just go after work. If I want to go play outdoors with it, or if I want to do anything else with it, and I want it in the long configuration, it's a pretty easy swap over. It's just a little Allen key down here. Loosen that, and the whole thing unscrews. It's quite a long thread. There's a big O-ring on here as well that's kind of gotten squished, but that's to be expected. With the pin pulled through, slide this off. It's a little stiff, especially with the upgraded hot unit in there. It seems to just stiffen everything up. So that just comes off. Then we do rail first, and this is how I pissed up the finish on the suppressor. You see the M-lock screws in there. Yep, it was them. I tried to unscrew the suppressor with this on, with the grip on, and it just scratched up the finish. It was really annoying because I was gonna sell it, and I was just gonna sell the suppressor because, like, it, you know, it still looks perfectly fine with the suppressor that came with it under this rail. It looks a little bit too skinny, but it would have been fine if, you know, if I could get 70 quid for this suppressor, which I would have probably been able to, but oh well. At least I've got a nice suppressor on two of my guns now. That goes back on like that, and then this just screws directly on to with the barrel thread. You know, I could extend the inner barrel in this setup, but that would be a bit more of a faff. But if I fancied it, I could. If I retired this as my CQB gun and got something else and wanted to keep this as a long configuration, that would be an option, just to give it a longer inner barrel, more range, more accuracy, a bit more power. Cool. So we'll fit it in the screen. So this is the other setup. Pretty cool. It's a bit more substantial. I really like both, so I like having options and stuff. At the moment I'm just storing it in its sort of CQB one because it's a bit, you know, more compact and easier to hide away, tuck away. My overspilling collection, slightly different look. I obviously move the flashlight a bit further down when I have it like this, so it's more easy to just access with my thumb. I sort of do the old tactical C clamp when I've got it like this, and so thumb is just up and down like that. So one thing to know if you are gonna get one of these, the V3 Stanag metal type mags fit fine. You get, that's what comes with it. The shorty Vietnam style mags fit fine and actually look pretty dope, I think. These ones don't. It's because of this, for some reason. I don't know. I don't know why the magwell's different to the standard ARs, or like that much different. But yeah, they just don't fit. Yet to see if I swap it with the top of one of these, if that'll do it. I'm not sure if the screws are in the exact same place, but they look like they are. So maybe that will work. Maybe if I swap the tops over, it'll look weird as fuck, but maybe then that will fit in there. I don't know. I know Octagon do a version where they pre-sand this out so that those mags do fit, because they do look the part in there, like, you know, like, they belong in this gun. Yeah, so I don't know, hopefully VFC, APFG will figure that one out. If you watch the middle-aged gamers video on the APFG Mcx Rattler, his issue was that the Hopup rubber that they put in their standard for a CQB gun is a little too soft. What I mean by that is, when the rubber's too soft, the Hopup arm can put pressure down on it easier, and that makes the effects of the hop stronger, so it'll be over hopping BBs. To get a flat trajectory, I'm using 3.2s, and it's still over hopping these with the hop like all the way off. So I'm gonna have to try out a different Hopup rubber, basically. Fortunately, it's super easy to take apart and put back together, as you'll see in Middle-Aged Gamers video and in my other video. So it's quite a quick change, and it's easy to do. It's easy job. So I'm gonna get something that works with BBs, more suitable to CQB indoor stuff, because I'm only allowed to use up to 2.5s indoor. That's where I want to use this the most. I don't want to be using like 0.4 BBs indoor. I'm not allowed to. I don't even want to be using those outdoors. It just gets a bit too expensive. I think 3.2s is my outdoor BB. It works absolutely fine in all my other guns and a lot of my other pistols. Yeah, I don't want to be hitting someone with 0.4s at, you know, 10 feet away. Just like I wouldn't want to be hit with 0.4s 10 feet away. So I need to get something more suitable for its purpose. It's a bit weird that they would put a hot rubber like that in this gun in the first place, because it's meant to be like a little CQB gun. Thanks for checking out this video. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.